We will rise again to glory then, soar into the sky. If you stop and see, then you just might believe. We're unstoppable, powerful, enough to beat the odds. If you love me, you will see the flames inside of me.
Hi everybody and welcome back to Seduce Me 2. What a terrible time to scoot in my chair. Welcome back to Seduce Me 2 as I bang everything around my desk. God damn. Okay. Oh. It's October? Duh, friggin' May, gosh. Eventually I did rise from my sleep, somehow fully rested and calm. How could that have been?
Did you have a good rest?
I'm so tired. I turned my head to see Diana at the door, arms crossed and leaning against the door's archway. She had a look of concern and pure curiosity on her face as she awaited my answer. I think my dog just farted. Diana stared at me, slightly shocked. Did she not expect me to ask?
Oh. Well, yes, I'm fine now that I've had proper rest.
She was oddly quiet, and I don't like it. That's good. That's real good. Diana shook her head and stepped into the room, closing the door behind her.
So we need to find another way to get you back to the human world. It won't be easy, but I believe it can be done by tonight, at the latest.
Tonight, really? Diana nodded and crossed her arms again, leaning on one hip.
It will take time to get our shadow agents to gather the necessary supplies, but they are not hard to obtain, being that we're in a position of power. You must be lucky.
What do you mean? Diana sighed before casting a short spell under her breath. In front of me appeared a floating map, almost like a hologram. It showed an entire world with mountains, plains, and forests, and it all was surrounded by sea and water. Diana pointed at a marker that had a purple banner at its tip. It was marked in the center of center of some mountains and forest area. It was also the very large center of the It's very large. Very center of the map.
That is where we are currently. The center of the abyssal plains.
Diana then ran a finger in a circle around the marker, showing a perimeter around
Everything we need for the spell is within this area. It will just take time to gather the materials and prepare it.
Die, you stupid fruit fly. What's up with the fruit flies? My goodness. I nodded, understanding the situation. Go away. I was going to hopefully be able to go home tonight, which was better than not going home at all. So what should I do until then? Party.
My suggestion? Stay in this room.
Oh, boo.
I can mark this room as off limits so that no demon may enter that would confuse you for an intruder and kill you.
Of course, I can always risk it. I gulped. I did not want to die. As Diana made the magical map disappear, she shrugged.
However, I cannot stop you from whatever you wish to do.
Yes, you can.
Just don't leave the castle.
Okie dokie. I nodded as she turned to leave. As she stepped out, Diana looked back to me with a reassuring look.
We'll get you back to the human world. I promise you that.
Finally, she left me alone in the room. I let out a small sigh and looked up at the ceiling. I had to wait until tonight to actually do anything. What was I gonna do? Part of me agreed with Diana's suggestion, wanting to stay in the room and gonna start beatboxing, that's my new career. Be safe in case the guards didn't know who I was and would kill me on sight. But that didn't stop my curiosity. However, wouldn't leave me alone and wanted me to explore the castle. I was handed an opportunity to explore a castle in the demon world, and part of me did not want it to go to waste. I was torn on what to do, die or live, I just don't know. We're gonna explore because I'm adventurous. There was no way I was letting this chance pass me by. I stood and walked towards the door, opening it a crack and looking around. There was no one in the hall, but there were two directions to go. Which way? I'm gonna go left. I went with left. I closed the door behind me as I exited my room and began to make my way down the left corridor. Everything was definitely medieval style, and I felt a bit small in the hall. It was like it was a fairy tale, walking around in a wedding dress. It felt almost dreamlike. The passage seemed long, decorated with wall candles, paintings, and random curtains and flowers. It was mystical to see, and I smiled. As I approached another fork in the hall, however, I sighed. Really, how does anyone find their way around? I looked back, knowing I had walked far from my room. I could turn back. Yet What happens if I just head back to my room? Heading back was my absolute safest option. I didn't want to rise? Where's your head, Bay? I spun on my heel and walked back towards the room. When I arrived, I sat on the edge of my bed, now wondering what to do. I sighed and fell back into bed, unsure of how to pass the time. Masturbate. Wow. Okay, brain. Staying in my room was the best option for me, so that I wouldn't get lost. Calm your shit, rat. Jeez. So that I wouldn't get lost and that'd be okay in case the guards were on duty. I let out a small sigh before looking around the room. Was there anything I wanted to look at closer?
Excuse me.
Oh, damn it, it's just you. You know what? No. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't even... I'm at the point where I don't give a shit. If you want to see this, then go somewhere else. No, I know what that's made of. No, no way. Nope, not eating that. Come in. The door opened to reveal Diana with a plate holding things I recognized. Bread and cheese. I let out a heavy sigh of relief before Diana laughed.
I suggest not trying that. As good as it smells.
Yeah.
It's not-
Yeah. Can we get to the part where the boys get here now?
We finished the main preparations.
Thank you.
We just need to head over and we'll start.
I could not continue waiting. I could not. My mind went to such a frenzy of wanting to go home. I stood up, moving the plate and gobbled to a nearby table. Let's go.
Huh? Are you sure?
Positive. I nodded, not wanting to waste any more time. I needed to get home, and I was tired of waiting. Diana stared before nodding and heading for the door, opening it for me and exiting after me. As she closed the door behind me, I began to feel my heart flutter in relieved joy. I was heading home. You wish. Hey. Diana led me down the corridors to the war room where I had originally arrived to reveal the table covered in plants and artifacts of different kinds. Goodness. None of it made sense to me, but I had to only assume it was what was needed for the spell to work. Diana walked to the table and took note of what she saw, nodding.
This should work.
You're in doubt?
Have to be after the last time we tried sending her home. Do we have a human anchor?
No, you're on your own this time. But we'll make sure you survive casting it.
Otherwise, we're fucked.
The spell should work, however, because we'll be using energy material. It will only require a slice of your energy on top of these items. Which
Just
Oh,
make
oh,
sure
oh,
you
I'm
don't
sorry, I was
die
not-
casting it.
Nobody cares. I did not mean to skip that, though. Diana smiled at her guard before turning to me.
So, are you ready to return home?
She didn't have to ask. I'm ready. Diana nodded once more before turning back to the table. She lifted her arms over the surface and lowered her head, muttering under her breath.
Otnibris portas, apriat nobis, largiatur exitium, desiderium.
As she spoke, the table began to glow, as did she. A dark purple aura began to surround her form as she lifted and arched her head back, staring at the ceiling. A glimpse of her eyes made me gasp. Warm golden orbs covered her blood-red irises. I cannot read now. Glowing with magic, she was deep within the spell, and I could see it slowly draw energy from her body. The items on the table began to gleam wildly, light orbs floating from them and dancing in the air above the table's surface. They began to weave back and forth with each other, almost as if the lights were dancing to a silent tune. The other demon stepped back as Diana moved her arms up and pointed to the dancing lights. Her finger pointed into the air, leading the lights to follow where it directed obediently. She drew a large circle in the air, and the lights followed like a perfect trail, spreading out and forming a large void in the air. As they finally stopped moving, they burst into a bright light, causing the demons and I to cover our eyes from it. It engulfed the room, but it died down just as fast, revealing a small tear in the air. Diana quickly leaned forward and dug her hands into it before pulling the tear apart, revealing my bedroom. Diana continued to pull the tear open, giving enough space for me to jump through.
Hurry and go through! This is your chance!
This is my moment. I wasn't going to let it go to waste. I gripped the bottom of my dress and rushed forward, using momentum to jump into the air and forward towards the void. I could almost reach it. I could feel the air conditioning of my room right at my fingertips. I was...
She will never leave this world alive!
cock-blocked. The demon lord's voice rang through the air just as I saw my fingertips pass through the tear. What stopped the rest of my body was a red light and forcing me and Diana back from the opening. Goodness. I felt my body fly backwards and slam into the wall before I landed on the stone ground. I heard Diana as well land beside me with a painful thud. I looked up and felt my heart break as the tear became wrapped in red lightning, zipped itself closed, and vanished into thin air. No, this could not be.
Damn it!
Damn it!
That should have worked. How could it have failed?
Many reasons.
We must have missed something. Was there anything we had forgotten?
No. I verified everything myself.
Then why was the Demon Lord able to overpower a gate spell?
We don't have to yell. Okay, we can figure this out calmly, guys.
Highly doubt you know either, brute.
You're tearing this family apart, Shadow.
Stop fighting! We need to make a plan, and all of you are just being stupid! Stupid, 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 stupid!
Are you all right, Isaiah?
I'm fine.
I was too lost in my mind to fully understand what was going on around me. I was so close. I felt the other side. I had almost made it home. Why couldn't I go home? Diana's grunt of pain next to me made me shoot my head towards her, and I watched her slowly push herself off the ground and glare at the table.
The Demon Lord must have done something more than simply bring her here.
What could he have done?
The Demon Lord is incapable of doing anything of the sort. His lackey imps must have done something to her.
A spell?
Curse.
I looked to the rabbit woman, seeing her stare wide-eyed at me. The other demons stared at me as well, and suddenly I felt like I was on display. Was something wrong with
She
me?
will not leave the demon world alive. He must have placed some sort of curse on her to prevent her from leaving this plane. In order to leave, she'd have to die.
Well, shit. What? My mind went blank. Did the Demon Lord really curse me? Was I forced to stay in this world until I died? I could never go back?
Are you suggesting a barrier curse?
Can I just express how much I love Shadow's voice actor? I just love his voice so much, and I don't know why.
That would explain the red energy that sealed the tear.
But dark magic like that requires...
Blood of 1,000 demons. He must have sacrificed part of his army to cast a curse on her that would prevent her from leaving.
Shadow looks so disgruntled right now.
The Demon Lord is that desperate for her.
The only way to break that kind of curse is to kill the caster, the Demon Lord himself.
She's trapped here until this war is over.
My body began to shiver violently. The Demon Lord killed 1,000 demons just to trap me here? Why? Why? I slammed my fist into the ground, scaring Shadow half to death, and began to scream. I want to go home! Why? Why? I'm too lazy tonight. I could feel the sympathy and anger in the room, but I didn't care. I was beyond livid. I was far past broken. I was seeing red. Quality voice acting. This is still not explained. Right here is not explained at all. My voice ripped through the air. A bright light erupted through the room once again. Everyone covered their eyes, but Diana quickly scrambled to get on her knees and cover me with her body. She held me tightly as the light invaded the space and slowly began to fade. As the light finally died, everyone moved their hands to see what had happened. In the air was a white tear that was slowly opening, facing down towards the table. Something was coming. I could feel it in the air. The guard summoned his spear and pointed at the tear, glaring at it and gritting his teeth.
Something's coming!
In reply, Diana summoned what looked like a saber and placed it in front of us.
Ready yourselves! It could be the Demon Lord!
The other demons in the room readied themselves and stared at the tear, either holding a weapon or preparing a spell. I felt the air change, becoming heavier as the tear began to grow. The energy around it began to pulsate, making everyone in the room that much more tense. I seriously have to sneeze. Oh my gosh. I stared at the tear as well, frightened as to what was coming. Was it the Demon Lord? His minions? My mind began to cycle through fearful ideas of what was about to appear. Shaking to my boots. My heart almost stopped. Fallen from the tear and landing on the table were 5 incubi brothers. They were piled on top of one another, having come through one at a time. However, as the last brother landed, the boys fell to one side, toppling off the table and landing on the floor. The rebels around me stared at the fallen pile of incubi, confused and surprised. As the tear in the air closed, the org man was first to lower his sword.
What the hell?
Who are they?
Careful! They could be the Demon Lord's men! In a way.
No! The rebels looked to me as I stood up, Diana following and still protecting me, and I stared at the boys on the ground. They all looked dazed and a bit shell-shocked from having fallen twice in rapid succession. I almost couldn't believe it. There they were, right in front of me. My mind couldn't help but remember how I had first met them. They had all been on the floor of my mansion, unconscious and wounded. Now they were in front of me in the demon world. I know them. Hello? Damien, get the fuck out of here. I stared at... I stared at the one I was meant to marry, seeing him slowly shake his head and rise from the ground. They came to rescue me. He came to rescue me. My heart became overjoyed and full of warmth and happiness. My rat is having a fucking shit fit behind me. I was going to go home. The question was, how? As the sight of the boys kept the demon's attention, a second tear opened above them, causing everyone to look up. 4 women dropped down from the tear and somehow managed to fall into the arms of the incubi behind James.
Whoa!
Hey, Carrie!
I gotcha!
Hey, Twyla!
How unfortunate. What an unfortunate... There are so many noises happening behind me.
Whoa! Are you okay? I gotcha! It's okay!
Eric!
Who's this bitch? I am not getting any background on this bitch.
Love, I've got you!
Bitch. See, that's the only wife that I don't like. Because she stuck up. I didn't read that. Sorry. Go back. Up. I stared wide-eyed. Their wives came too. I watched as the boys and the girls finally planted themselves on the ground before looking around. As James spotted me, however, he quickly rushed over. Love! Slow motion running towards each other. Trips and falls. James! Ah! To my surprise, Diana quickly moved out of the way, allowing him to approach and wrap his arms around me. The feeling of his body against mine sent a shiver up my spine. I find it weird that in the first game I chose James first and now I'm choosing James last. How sad. Feeling his body against mine sent a shiver up my spine. He was really here. I instantly wrapped my arms around his body, burying my face in his shoulder and taking in his scent. His head gently nuzzled into my shoulder as James curled over to bring my body close to him.
God, you're safe.
I got the hiccups though. You came for me. I could barely believe it, but I did anyway. The scent of his cologne. Oh yeah. And the texture of his clothing. Let me know. I'm rocking this video. Let me know that I wasn't dreaming. He came to find me. Now the question was, how would we both leave? James gently loosened his embrace and looked at Diana, who was standing by her side and watching. I couldn't see his expression, but Diana stared wide-eyed, almost in fear of James. Why? He's like, Odie! As James began to speak, I felt some sort of violent power change in the room. While Diana held dominance before the incubi arrived, it was practically ripped from her as James claimed me once again in his arms.
Care to explain why my bride is here, Diana?
It's not her fault, dude.
Your father.
Like our expression didn't change, like, your father! I looked up at James to see him staring Diana down as if he didn't believe her explanation. Oh, there's an oar there.
And why have you not sent her back?
Bruh, we were just trying to.
Again, your father.
He's like, I am not impressed. I watched as James' eyes closed further, almost hiding his whiskey brown irises in an unimpressed and unconvinced glare.
As much as I despise my father, why do I have a hard time believing that?
Instead of my putting up with this shit. From beside Diana, the spear guard stepped up and crossed the spear across Diana's body. In an act of protection, he seemed unfazed by James' glare and almost felt like he was challenging him from the power play thrashing in the air. It was like James and Diana were opposing alphas and the guard was a protective mate.
Believe what you will. My lady was about to send her back before you came.
Again, not impressed. James looked at the guard and visibly sized him up. Well... See, I see Sam doing this, not James. The guard glared, tightening his grip on his spear, but remained beside his mistress. As James looked back to Diana, his hold on me tightened.
Go on.
Diana sighed softly and placed a hand on the guard's shoulder, looking at him, but the guard refused to turn himself or his spear away from me and James.
He cast a curse on your bride-to-be, barring her from leaving this world alive.
A curse?
A curse?
Yes. She can't leave this world unless she dies, or until we kill the Demon Lord.
Well, ain't that just a pickle? I could feel James' arms tense around me. For some reason, the look in his eyes changed from anger to almost hopefulness. Was he hoping that we would be able to leave? I hope so.
Now, I must ask that you recognize whose kindness you are testing.
Ooh.
Settle.
Ooh. Dana tightened her hand on the guard's shoulder, almost digging her nails into his jacket. However, her eyes remained on James, now submissive to his dominant stare on her.
We have been fighting him consistently and have successfully pinned him into a corner. Our next attack will be on the Demon Lord's castle, and it will be the final battle.
Succubus, if I may...
No, you may not.
Oh! Well, Shadow, I think you just got killed. The lanky man stared wide-eyed at Diana, but she ignored him. Instead, she continued to stare up at James, unfazed at her harsh tone towards her companion. James eventually released me from his embrace and faced Diana and her guard, standing tall and almost looking down his nose at them. Okay.
And when do you plan to attack him?
With a nasty snarl, the larger demon male stepped forward and glared hard at James, who my body tensed in reflex, but James continued to stand tall.
Why the fuck should we tell you?
Why is everybody so mean to each other? My goodness. Eric's like, I'm worried about this.
1 week's time.
Everyone in the room shot their heads towards Diana, mostly in shock or surprise.
What? 1 week?
I looked at Diana, watching her unable to turn away from James's gaze. What is going on between you two? She wasn't in trance, but it seemed as if she wasn't able to even pull away from the gaze battle between them out of fear.
Where is this number coming from, Succubus?
We need to fully prepare ourselves for the final stage, which I'm certain will only take a couple of days. We've pinned him into a corner. The Demon Lord will fall.
That's rather bold to assume.
She's right, though. We can prepare everything in that time frame, right?
Sure.
And if he does the same and attacks us before then?
He won't.
I watched as Diana walked over and cleared the table of the materials they had gathered for the gate spell. Revealing a physical map of the Abyssal Plains, she pointed to a spot on the map, a peninsula surrounded by water labeled as the Decaying Sea.
We'll cast a barrier spell along the edge of the peninsula and around the castle. He and his army won't be able to move from that spot until we break it ourselves, which will be during the siege.
Where would we get the energy needed for that kind of spell?
I just gotta mention, I love how Seto's necklace is a Lilith flower. It's so beautiful and it's so great.
We won't be using energy.
Dun dun dun! The other rebel demons in the room suddenly tensed up, staring at Diana in surprise. What was she gonna do?
My lady, you're not suggesting...
The Demon Lord has shown how far he is willing to go to win this war. It's only fitting to show the extent we'll go to in response.
As much as I agree with you, this seems a little rash.
What are you guys talking about?
Oh, Matthew, you're adorable.
Are they allowed to know?
I plan to put a barrier curse around the Demon Lord's castle and army. It's temporary, so it won't need the blood of 1,000 demons. But it will need the sacrifice of at least one demon life.
And I assume you'll be sacrificing one of my soldiers.
Is this our only option?
There are other options, but they will most likely take a lot of energy to pull off.
It just depends on what we want to do. If we want to do this immediately, then the barrier curse is indeed the best option.
I'm not opposed to performing the curse. As rash as it is, it will make our lives easier in the long run.
You expect me to hand over one of my men? My soldiers joined the rebellion to kill the Demon Lord, not to get their throats slit before even seeing the final battle?
It's wrong, but can we really afford to spend any more energy? Diana already spent a lot trying to send the human back.
What is the other option?
No, spaced out. The Robin woman and the fairy moved towards the map and pointed at the peninsula.
We could form tall rock walls around the castle. Box him in.
It will take a lot of our energy. but we can recover in that week period.
And what will stop the Demon Lord from tearing down the walls?
I can imbue the walls with holy magic.
Dun dun dun. Incubi and I looked at him, all of us simply surprised. A demon with holy magic? How?
How the fuck did you get holy magic? You look and smell like a demon.
Oh, Sam, you never cease to amaze me. The guard held up his wrapped hand, letting letting the beads around it jangle with a sudden motion.
I've had the ability to use holy magic ever since I was taken in by my lady's family. There's no doubt that I am a demon, but I can't recall how I gained this ability.
Thanks for the backstory. How is holy magic different from demon magic?
It's white magic. Unlike demon magic, holy magic isn't so finicky. Think of it as warding or dispelling magic. You can't bless air or anything that doesn't have physical form, but you can bless objects to fight back against other forms of magic.
If the walls were blessed with holy magic, the Demon Lord wouldn't be able to escape until we released him.
Why not just trap him forever?
That's idiotic. He would still be a threat regardless. Holy magic doesn't last forever. And stone will crumble eventually.
And I'd still be stuck here, broho.
He's right. We wouldn't be able to keep the walls up forever.
The situation became more and more complicated the more we discussed it. How are we going to go about this?
We can't just sit around and debate this forever. The longer we wait, the more we risk him striking back at us.
But is it worth killing someone to trap him?
When we finally strike, we will lose hundreds, if not thousands, of soldiers anyway. What difference will it make to lose one more life on top of this?
Soulless fuck.
We can still cage him in.
I bit my lip. It was really a tough decision. A curse or a trap, which was better? Both had their prices, but we had to choose one. From the look of it, no one wanted to speak up, so I felt the urge to say something. Maybe I would be the one who would determine everything. But which method would be the best choice? I can't remember if I got an achievement last time for picking the trap, but I want to see if I get an achievement for this. Yeah, an eye for an eye. I'm not doing it, actually.
He won't be able to escape.
No.
Because
I'm not actually doing it because that's fucking heartless. I wanna what did I pick? Load. I'm not actually doing that. I just wanted the achievement. Everyone in the room looked at me as I finally spoke up. We need to be better than the Demon Lord. He was willing to sacrifice lives to trap me here, but it only showed how desperate he was to win and how little he valued life. He would lose this war one way or another. It wasn't worth losing someone who could help turn the tide of the war. When can we put up the barrier?
We can leave after this, meeting is over.
Are you sure this is the best choice?
The curse isn't the only option. We need to show that we're better than him. Everyone nodded, some in reluctance, while the others did with confidence. I looked at Diana just in time to catch a twitch of her visible eye, but she shook her head and looked to the rabbit woman.
Are you quite positive this will work?
I am very certain. Since it will be just 3 of us going, we can shadow travel there and be back by the morning.
Diana looked at her guard and nodded.
Very well. If you believe it will work, then I trust you will make sure it does.
As the guard nodded and slightly bowed, the other demons seemed to let out a sigh of relief. Were they worried about performing the curse? Diana shook her head before crossing her arms and looking directly at me.
So, since you'll be here for a while, we might as well give you names that you can use to refer to everyone here.
Are we getting human names?
Must we?
Diana rolled her eyes and gestured to the demon, naming them on the fly.
For the sake of time, we'll use simple names. This is Rabbit, our magic advisor. Sergeant, commander of our armies. Shadow, leader of our assassins. And Faye, our nomadic force ambassador.
Sergeant, I'm a commander, succubus. Shouldn't my name be Commander?
It's easier on the tongue, though, to say Sergeant.
My lady, what shall they call me?
Diana looked at Seto for a moment before turning towards me, a look of seriousness emanating from her eyes.
You may call him Seto. He is my personal guard, and he is always by my side.
He's a beautiful, beautiful man. The other demons and Seto seemed to be surprised. Was Seto his true demon name? Why would she give him his true name? Give me his true name.
Call him only if your life depends on it.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, sorry. Whoops! Her eyes seemed to burn as she gazed into mine, full of hard intent and warning. I mentally noted her seriousness as she ran a hand through her hair.
Well, now that we have a plan and introductions are out of the way, I believe we can end this meeting. We have a lot to accomplish in 1 week.
What about us? You don't expect us to sit around.
Actually, I do. You all don't belong on the battlefield.
Wait, hold on. That's not fair.
Yeah, soccer mom Carrie can fight.
I will not take untrained and unarmed beings into a war zone.
But ho, she's a witch. Hold on. I interjected, stepping forward and crossing my arms at Diana. She seriously wasn't going to make us stay back while she fought the Demon Lord, was she? Diana squinted at me, pressing her lips together into a fine line. However, I meant what I said. We could fight too.
You expect me to trust that you can fight in a war?
Let me and my brothers train then. We're demons, for fuck's sake. We know how to fight.
The boy stared at Diana as she turned her head towards Sam. He was right, though. He knew how to train, and so they were. So they knew how to fight. If they fought with the rebellion, there would be a better chance of winning this war.
You all realize this is a war, correct? You can die here.
We understand completely.
We do too, Diana.
Diana could only stare at our group as we challenged her proclamation. Good God. I wrapped my hand around my fiance's arms, frightened at the idea of participating in a war, but knowing that we needed all the strength we could muster to finish off the Demon Lord. This was the only way that I could go home. Defeated, Diana sighed and rubbed her temples.
Very well. I can't exactly keep you here like prisoners, so it will be up to you if you choose to train for battle. However, I highly suggest just staying here and allowing us to handle it.
I nodded, as did the others. This was really happening. We were going to kill the Demon Lord, and we had 1 week to either prepare for war or wait it out. Diana turned towards me and looked down at my outfit. I had nearly forgotten that I was still in my wedding dress until Diana pointed at my chest.
Lumen infere, bellum tabescere, serene.
I stared at her, unsure why she was speaking in Latin, until I felt the fabric around my body shift and change. I quickly looked down to see my wedding dress morph into an outfit that looked perfect for the demon world. The white top shifted into a long-sleeved oversized tunic with leather corset and vest, while the bottom part of the gown split and wrapped around my leg, forming into dark leggings. My shoes stretched into long knee-high boots.
Wow, that's so cool.
I blushed, getting used to the feeling of the outfit. The corset wasn't too tight, but it was still something new along with the rest of my garb. James, however, smiled down at me and kissed over my forehead.
We'll save the wedding dress for when we return.
Okay. Right.
Faye, Rabbit, you both should finish your preparations and head over to the Demon Lord's castle for the spell.
How are you going to get there?
I'll get us there, no problem. Just make sure we don't get stuck there or lost.
No promises.
Seto, make sure the job is done.
I shall, my lady.
Seto, Faye, and Rabbit began to make their way out of the room as Diana turned to me and my group. As I left, Diana let out a small sigh.
I will take you to some rooms you may rest in.
Thank you, Diana. Diana merely nodded and led our group out of the room towards our new temporary rooms. And I'm gonna end it here. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.